Hello, Soul Fam. Welcome if you're new here to Divine Femme TV. My name is Sarah Rose. If you've landed here, then I trust this message is for you. And it's coming through very loud and clearly for a wave of the collective. So if this resonates with you, take it. Let me know in the comments. If it doesn't, just pass it. It's not for you. You're at a very divine choice point where you are being guided to choose the life that you actually want to live, and choose it for no other reason. That's Hazel in the background. If you're new here, that's one of my fur babies, Hazel, Ruby. Hazel likes to sound like half chimp, half dog when she barks. It's the most ear-piercing, high-pitched bark I've ever heard. She thinks she's like... Okay, get over here. Quiet down. Okay. You get to live the life that you want because you want it. You get to choose the life now because you choose it for no other reason than it lights you up and brings you joy and pleasure and fun. And you're being guided to follow your heart, and that's going to take you into the unknown. And there's a choice point or decision or a series of decisions that you're either already in the midst of, or that you're making, or that you will be making, that are going to require that you drop into your heart and allow your heart to lead. And it's not going to make necessarily logical sense. For example, I like to share some of the own human journey over here and how this unfolded for me. I was told, kind of very clear that I was moving, and I didn't know where I was moving to. And it was a huge identity shift, because I was literally leaving behind where I had been the last 27 years and spent felt like a lifetime creating this identity. For many of you that are new here, I lived in Scottsdale in the Phoenix metro area in Arizona for the last 27 years. Prior to that, many of you don't know, but I'm from Ohio originally. I'm a transplant. I was a Midwestern transplant in Arizona. And long story short, it became very clear that the life that I was building there was not in alignment with my soul, and there was nothing wrong with that life. It just wasn't fulfilling me. And so I heard very clearly that I was moving, and I didn't know where I was moving to, but it felt like I was going on a divine adventure. Just God, all that is, and my fur babies and I. And it's all one. There's no separation there, and that's kind of like the paradox, right? Because we still get to live this human experience. There's a lot of beings that have realized their true nature, and they completely just like... their whole life falls apart because they just are like lost in this void, and nothing matters, and like there's no sense of identity anymore. And if you're listening to this is, you're here to fully live and express through your divine identity. Meaning you're here to fully self-actualize and live in alignment with the truth of who and what you are, which means you can no longer live from conditioning. You can no longer live from your survival identity. You can no longer live from all of the patterns and limitations that you picked up along the way from your upbringing, from beings who, through no fault of their own, projected onto you a narrative and a story that is not actually true. You get to live this life experience to the fullest in a way that is in alignment with your heart and your truth, that makes you feel alive, that lights you up. If you've landed here, you are not here to just grind it out and hustle your life away for 60, 70 years and then maybe carve out a few years of retirement and live your whole life like checking off boxes and looking good on paper. There's nothing wrong with all of the material world, but your version of success is going to look unique to you. And yes, that includes material abundance. That's one of the blocks that a lot of quote unquote spiritual people have, right? It's I say spiritual in quotations because everybody's spiritual. It's just whether or not you're aware of the truth of who and what you are or not. And so some are just more conscious of the awareness of that which they are than others. And everybody's journey is exactly where they're supposed to be. It's not everyone's supposed to be living from their highest divine identity. The highest divine identity is not rooted in the sense of separation and the separate sense of self, although you still have this human expression. So you still have this human vessel that you get to play through, right? You are the awareness that gets to play through this vessel. You are the consciousness that gets to play through this vessel to experience life. You came here to experience yourself. You are all of this, and everything reflecting that you see is you. There is no separation. Everything is arising and dissolving within this awareness. You don't have to take my word for it. You can see this to be true right now in your direct experience. Close your eyes and take a few breaths and drop into your heart and into the spacious awareness that is always here as the backdrop of all, and you will clearly see that the mind, the thoughts, the body, and everything else is appearing within it. So you're here to live a heart-directed life. You're here to listen to your heart, and that's going to lead you into the unknown and making decisions and choices with discernment, sacred discernment, around what it is that you're actually available for or not. And it's going to be increasingly hard to live inauthentically at this point. Like, it's really a hell yes for you now or nothing, and you have to have the courage to take the action, sacred masculine action, which means sometimes saying yes, sometimes saying no to things that are divinely aligning you with your highest timeline. And so, for example, like, as I heard that I was moving and I didn't know where I was going, but I knew that I was leaving, and I knew that where I was at wasn't a resonant anymore, wasn't a resonant match for what I was calling in. And I just, in faith, packed up my stuff, donated stuff, like literally up until like a few days before, like a week or two before I left. I didn't even know where I was going, but all my stuff was being sold and donated and put into storage. I didn't even have the car that I have now because I had to trade it in, so I had more room to pack up whatever I was taking with me, which is basically whatever I have on the road with me is what I have. It fits in the vehicle, and includes my 2 fur babies. So we're just on like this road trip, nomadic journey. Okay, there's a dog. 1 second. Okay. They're gone. Okay. Shh. They're gone. Okay. We're just kind of on this nomadic journey to a destination, undefined, unknown, for an undefined amount of time, and just going with the flow. And it has gotten me massively out of my comfort zone to leave behind everything that I knew and everything that I created and everything that I identified with, and to just leave what felt like a sense of safety, even though like where I was at was not in alignment at all, and actually falling apart in many, many ways. Okay, calm down. Okay, I think they're like, they love people, but they don't really, like, they just want to talk shit when they see another dog, even if it's like half a mile away, like that one. Okay, knock it off. Quiet. Hey, you. I'm going to show you the little noisemakers so you can see who in case you're new here. This is the one. This is Hazel. That thinks she's half chimp, half dog. She's the one that's over here causing all the ruckus. And this is her sister Ruby. And I rescued them when they were 3 months old, and they are going to be 10 this year in September. And I've always wanted to be traveling with them because every time I left Arizona, I always felt guilty. I could only leave for like 5 days or so because I would want to be back, because I wanted them to be able to get out of the desert and travel too. So anyway, long story short, where was I? Okay, it's enough. Quiet. Quiet. Hey, you too. Okay, it's enough. It's enough. It's enough. Hey, look at me. You're okay. You're okay. Thank you for protecting Mama. Thank you for protecting Mama. Thank you. That's a good little noisemaker. What was I saying? Okay, so I went on this. I fully stepped into the unknown and following the flow, and a lot of different opportunities that represented. God, what would have been like a dream come true even like a year ago, 2 years ago. I have said no to. There are very lucrative opportunities that I was being pursued for that fell out of the sky into my lap that would have been multi-six-figure opportunities. And I recently just declined another one 2-3 days ago because it was going to be a lot of like money on paper. It looked really good, but it didn't feel like I was going to have a lot of fun doing it. It didn't feel like I was going to have a lot of fun doing it. And at this stage of trust falling with the divine and surrendering to this process we call life, just enjoy this life is meant to be experienced and meant to be fun, meant to feel alive within us, and it didn't feel alive. And I'm sharing this just because I feel whoever's listening to this is going to be faced with a choice point, if you haven't already, that asks you, how bad do you want it? Like, how bad do you want what your heart and soul already know that you came for? How much longer are you willing to postpone it? How many more cycles do you need to go through before you're willing to claim it for yourself, before you're willing to say, yeah, I know it's one thing to say that you're a multi-dimensional being and that you're one with all, and it's another thing to live it and walk it and be it and know that it is finished, that it is done, that what you are here to create is already done. God already knows what's in your heart. You don't have to like even figure that out. You've been you don't even like, it's even like what you're focusing on that feels like your highest vision or dream for your life is a fraction of what is possible. Like, seriously, the little mind is working within its very small psychological borders of what it believes is possible and can only operate off of past conditioning and past experience. Yeah, you can vision, you can dream, right? And that's great, your imagination. But there are things that will blow your mind, like literally blow your mind, because it's so beyond what you were even fathoming. Like, that's what's coming up here as well. And the only way that timeline gets to be experienced is when you surrender to your heart's calling. And the old identity, the survival identity, the one that's always making fear-based decisions and is rooted in threat prevention, is not going to be able to create the identity that you know you're here to experience. Hard stop. Fear-based consciousness cannot create your highest divine timeline. Therefore, you cannot continue to make decisions out of fear. Every decision you make from fear is not going to yield to you your highest divine reality. And so when I speak to calibrating to your divine identity, like, it's one thing to be self-realized and realize that you are not this body, you are not these thoughts, that you are all of this. And it's even there's been many, many glimpses and big openings where there is not even a localized sense of self here, and it's just, there is no separation here. There is no separation. And that's the thing with this. Like, the more you make decisions from the separate sense of self that's rooted in fear and threat prevention, the more you are creating separation where there is none. That's the thing. You're creating separation where there is no separation, because you're essentially saying, I'm over here and now I need to go do this, or this in order to get something over there or out there to come into my experience. And I get it. It's part of the human conditioning and journey. You crave a sense of safety, you crave a sense of security, you crave a sense of, a level of abundance, or a level of connection and love and things like that in your life. And that is perfectly beautiful and divinely aligned and destined for you, right? All of that is destined for you. This doesn't discount you get to receive it all. You get to live a rich, wealthy, abundant life in alignment with divine partnerships and collaborations and all the things. but it's not going to materialize in the 3D world if you're making fear-based decisions, okay? And so it did not make any logical sense to turn down very lucrative opportunities on paper that didn't feel aligned, but it didn't feel fun. And it's like your intuition, your sense of, as you move through this process of individuation and integrating the psyche and coming into union with your feminine and masculine energy and coming into alignment with the truth of who and what you are, your bullshit meter goes way up. You are able to tell 5 moves ahead if some connection, partnership, relationship, job opportunity is going to lead towards, a sense of constriction, tightness, and, just, okay, that's enough. You can tell ahead of time, and it's time to trust that knowing, because your heart knows, your mind thinks, your heart already knows. It's going to take you out of your comfort zone. Call in an aligned opportunity that supports what it is that you're creating, and get really clear on and discerning on what that is. Simultaneously, as I literally called those opportunities in. I created those opportunities. I literally had them in my journal. Multi-6-figure contracts. I literally had that in my journal. And then when it actually appeared, I was like, yeah, it's close, but not close enough, because it doesn't resonate at a deep soul core level. It doesn't make me feel alive. I also called in another opportunity simultaneously, literally at the exact same moment, that was giving me the freedom and the wellness lifestyle and the slow mornings and the plenty of time in nature and a remote source of additional income while traveling and all the things. And they were like apples and oranges, right? Like one's a base that's going to just be really lucrative on paper. The other one's like commission, consulting, like commission only, and way more freedom and flexibility. And I chose consciously the one that gives me more freedom and flexibility, because as you know right now, if you've been following me, I am building up more in-person immersions in places like Lake Tahoe or North Scottsdale if I'm back there in the winter months, which I'm not sure if that's where I'll be, but it feels like that's where I'll be, and that's where a lot of my family is around the holidays, so I think I'll be there. But it's like I'm not even trying to figure that out, right? Because it's like there's no sense in trying to figure it out, because it's either going to feel aligned or it's not in the moment. It's either going to feel aligned or it's not in the moment. I was talking with a client the other day on one of the Embody the Empress calls, which if you are new here, that's my membership. You can get access to weekly calls with me right now through Embody the Empress. You can find that link wherever you're listening to this. What was I sharing? Oh, so I was talking with one of the women in Embody the Empress, and this is happening this is in the collective. This is not just my experience, right? Like we're all being faced with divine discernment and making choices that are heart-led. And that's what the essential message here is that you're reaching a tipping point here where it's really a hell yes or it's a no. And it's fine if you are continuing to make fear-based decisions, but just know, I'm sorry to be the, spoiler alert, if you continue to make the decisions that are not in alignment with what you know to be true, and like you're not in alignment with what feels good in your body, and you're compromising, sacrificing, or settling in any way, you're coming from fear-based consciousness, and it's not going to yield the kind of results that that reflect back as your divine reality. And it's not like you won't have another chance. It's just like, how many more times do you want to loop? How many more times do you want to go down the same rabbit hole just to find, it's really time to evaluate like where you're giving your power away, where you're settling for less, where you're still trying to prove yourself, where you're compromising your values. Compromising your values is enough, literally, like it makes me sick. Like I'll literally get the flu. Like I'll literally be like sick and like nervous system like dysregulated, and like you become so integrated through this process of individuation and self-actualization, you become allergic to things that are not authentic. And you don't give a shit what anybody has to say about it. It may not make any logical sense, not even to your own mind, but you're still, like there's something in you that's prior to all of that is directing this, if you allow it and you listen to it, which is a much softer voice Your heart's voice is a much softer voice than the big fears of the egoic mind. So I'm talking about identity shifting here, but not just to create another identity and then cling to that and call that you. That's still the separate sense of separation. I'm talking about living as your God essence, living as the field, being here now as this, and realizing that everything that's popping up and populating in this, what appears to be out there reality, is a reflection of you. I am a reflection of you. If this is resonating, it's because you called this through this vessel called Sarah. Like, there is no separation. Other people can only show up in your experience and reflect back to you how deeply you know yourself, your true self, how deeply you are integrated within. If you are still fragmented and operating from shadow and illusion and operating from fear and unworthiness and lack and scarcity, then the world's going to be reflecting that back to you a T. Because this is one big movie that you're creating. You're the movie, you're the actor, you're the set, you're the scenery, you're everything that's happening within this movie. And your conscious focus of awareness is what gives it the power and the juice. So if you don't like the story that's playing out on the stage called your life, the movie that's called your life, then you have to be willing to tell a different story, but not tell a different story from the separate sense of self that's still that little mouse in a maze trying to catch, find the cheese and keeps hitting all the dead ends. That's a never-ending struggle. Tell a different story from the truth of who and what you are, which means you gotta let go of the story. You gotta let go of the story. You gotta let go of the history of everything that you've known to be you up until this point. So the image is coming to mind right now is that of the fool. The fool is off on a new adventure with a fresh slate, and he's traveling light. He's just got like a little knapsack over his shoulder. And for me, this represents you're not carrying any baggage with you into this next chapter. You're not carrying any extra dead weight into this next chapter like you dragged around like a ball and chain for previous cycles, right? This is not an accident that this is also coming through a couple of days before the new moon in Gemini. The other message that's coming through is that the builder season, like the building season, like what you've been building behind the scenes for over a decade, that building phase is coming to an end. At the end of this month, you're going to be catapulted into new levels of visibility. You've built enough behind the scenes. What can't come with you anymore. You already know this. You're aware. But you have to be willing to see through those last patterns of conditioning and anchor yourself so fully in faith and trust and knowing within your heart and allow your heart to lead. This needs to click into place now. You cannot create from fear-based consciousness, and none of this has been happening on just for no reason. Like, I know who I'm speaking to those that are here to create a big impact in the world and have a big mission on their heart, and it's your authentic expression now. Authentic expression. You're here to get paid to exist and to be you and to play and create in the 5D, which means you actually have to be you, which means you can't be wearing a mask anymore, pretending to be anybody else or anything else. You can just show up fully authentically expressed. And I just lost it. I'm gonna take a sip. Of this. Oh yeah, visibility is another thing that's coming through right now. I speak to the sacred visionaries and the leaders. You're a leader or visionary if you've landed here, and you're here to be living your highest truth and your highest authentic expression. And through that divine authentic expression, you literally shoot out like a laser, you shoot up and magnetize in everything that is meant to be part of this experience that is part of your divine reality. If you've landed here, you are leading New Earth, and you're here to live a life beyond your wildest dreams. You're not here to settle. You're not here to compromise. You're not here to sacrifice. You're not here to give your power away anymore. All of that is the old paradigm. All of that served you because you have all of this alchemy that's taken place and all of this purification, but you have been forged in the fire, and now it is time to fully emerge. This is the emergence. You're moving into your emergence, which means you're not going to be able to hide anymore. You're not going to be able to dim your light. And I know this message is something you've heard a million effing times. So the main part of this message that really felt pertinent to hit record is the decisions that are being made right now need to be heart-centered decisions. You cannot operate from fear-based consciousness anymore. You know you're guided, you know you're protected, you see signs all the time. Like those synchronicities should be cluing you into the fact that you are creating this. That's why you're in the perfect place at the perfect time, because you can't not be, because you are all of this. You are life. This entire simulation is reflecting back to you what you were conscious of being. So get really, really clear on what story you're telling, and really, really clear on where you're making your decisions from. Your heart already knows, and it's not going to make logical sense to even your own mind, let alone anyone else, and it's not supposed to. You're not here to fit into the mold that everybody else plays by. There is no rule book for you. The rules do not apply. You get to play and create as your multidimensional self, fully anchored in divine truth, that you are one with all of creation, and that you are the mother effing field. And the simulation responds to your sacred vision. That is the truth. You are bending reality to your sacred vision. Okay, the sacred vision that the divine planted within your heart to be expressed through this vessel. To be expressed through this vessel, and your dreams and your joy and your pleasure and your fun and your sense of aliveness is your clue. It is your compass. What your heart feels and knows is your compass. What your intuition already knows, this is your compass. And I promise you, as you take the steps, when I look back at the last 90 days, I was like, holy shit. Like, it all just kind of falls into place, but I didn't know how it was going to fall into place. And it's like the provision and the favor and what the divine support literally rises to meet you as you walk it. You have to walk it, though. You have to walk it. You can't give the universe lip service anymore. Okay. You have to walk it. You have to walk the talk. And I know it's challenging because you're living in the unknown now. There's no certainty. And as much as the egoic mind wants to, okay, Hazel, come here. Hey, get over here. Are you done yet? Are you done? Quiet. There's no certainty, and you got to get comfortable with not having certainty, because the mind is constantly going to be grasping for certainty, and you are the certainty. You are the proof. Your declaration and your conviction as you live and walk and talk in alignment with what your heart knows to be true is the proof, and that is what you will see reflected back to you when you fully embody it. But there is no getting around the embodiment piece now. There's a reason why I have embodied the Empress as my membership. There's a reason why nervous system rich, to be rich and regulated, anchored in your truth. It's because it has to be anchored here in the body. There's a reason why my private one-on-one Wildly Sovereign is all about identity calibration and living your most authentic truth, because none of this happens without your embodiment, which means you can't talk about it anymore. And aren't you done talking about it anyways? Don't you just want to live it? Don't you just want to take the action that really lights up your soul and scares the shit out of you just a little bit? Like, okay, I think I'm gonna end it here and take these little fur nuggets for a walk, because it looks like they have a lot of energy to work through. They've been taking a nap all day, and this is their first outing outside, so they're a little wound up. So I will be tuning in again with another transmission very soon. If this resonated with you, drop a comment. Let me know if you're new here. Drop a comment. Let me know if you've been here for a while and this resonated. Let me know what part resonated with you the most. I love reading all of the comments. And a special announcement. Yes, I've already announced this on different parts of the channel and social media, so you may have already seen this. I am now hosting Wild Femme Immersions in South Lake Tahoe, at least through July and August, and the dates for July are already set. You can find that link wherever you are listening to this. It includes 2 nights here in Lake Tahoe with me personally for in-person calibrations and activations to step into your highest authentic truth and live a life that you fucking choose, that is alive within you, and really embodying that. There's a lot of nervous system regulation, time in nature, and some other surprises, and you can actually piggyback that off of Wildly Sovereign, which is my private one-on-one. There's only 2 spots for that because there's only so many spots for privates, and that is a 3-month one-on-one mentorship container. So there's like the women that are called to work with me on a one-on-one level get massive results because it's literally their soul already knows that it's time and like, let's do this. And that literally already activates them as soon as they choose to even like jump in, and they get massive manifestations in very, very short periods of time. I'm not just saying that. You can check out testimonials. It's on my website. It's not magic. It's alignment. It's divine alignment. It's soulmate clients that are meant to be activated within my creations, right? So that they can then create their creations. And you already know this on a soul level, or you wouldn't want to reach out and work together. And that's how you know, right? Like you'll feel it on a soul level. So anyways, you can piggyback like Wildly Sovereign with in-person calibration as well. So you have like in-person and the private one-on-one, which is kind of cool. But you don't have to. They're 2 separate things, but they do work really well together because it's kind of like the same thing, just a different level of proximity and a cool in-person experience. And of course you get to be in beautiful Lake Tahoe, so there's that as well. But this is a time to like really open up to receive in your feminine, and take sacred masculine action on what you're being guided, but like really open to receive and calibrate and leave the old story behind and really step into your most authentic, true version of what you came here to experience that you already know on a soul level, which looks different for everyone. But yeah, that's exciting. And there's something else I was gonna say and I can't remember. So if you have questions about anything that I offer, any containers, you can check them all out at the link wherever you're listening to this. And you can also DM me on Instagram at Spiritual CEO. Just make sure you follow me first, because otherwise it goes to like hidden messages. You know the drill, right? Like message me on Instagram at Spiritual CEO if you have any questions. And until next time, I hope this finds you well. Namaste.